What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be rearranging my bag to a gyro only for a month long. Got this idea from another video, Foundation did it. I thought it was a cool idea, and it's a good experiment to kind of figure out what other discs you haven't thrown, and it gives you more of a insight into the other companies, especially Axiom, who has, well, not Axiom, MVP, who has the gyro technology, and it's gonna be fun to see. I already throw some gyro, but mostly gonna be a full bag swap. Discs I've never thrown, and I'm even gonna do putters, so I'm gonna be excited to see what happens. So starting out with my putter, I have the Logics I normally putt with. I'm gonna putt with the Atom. It felt the best in the hand. The Envy was recommended because it's more like a Logic, but these just feel better in the hand for me, so the feel is what you have to do when you go by putting. So, Atoms for putting. Next, I have my 3 throwing putters. I already have a gyro in the bag, an Envy, so that's staying in the bag. I have a Berg. Not going to be able to replace this with any disc, so that's just out of the bag. I have to figure out how to go on without it. And then I have a Fierce. I do have a disc for this. The Proxy and the Electric Firm plastic. I think it's gonna best fit my turnover putter shot, and we're gonna go with the Proxy for that. So there's my putters, my throwing putters, and next up we have my 2 A3s that I have in the bag. I forget the Entropy. I don't think it's gonna be stable enough, so I moved up to a deflector. This thing is a beefcake and a half, and I think it's gonna fit the slot of the A3. It's a 5-speed, not a 4-speed, but still I think it's gonna be amazing. So I'm excited to see what this thing does, and I think it's gonna best fit the A3 slot. So there's that. Alright, so next up I have my mid-ranges. I already have a gyro in the bag, which is the Hex. I love the Hex, one of my favorite mid-ranges, so that's definitely going to stay in the bag. That's Dutch. He felt the need to be in the shot. I have a Soul, which is flippy turnover shot. MB3, which is kind of a beefy, straightest mid-range. Truth, which is also a beefier mid-range, and my Meteor, which is my straight mid-range. So fill in the gaps for those. Hex stay in the bag. So for my flippy turnover disc, I'm going to be using the Uplink from my Gyro Palooza pack. Very excited about this. Feels great in the hand. So we're going to see how that goes. For my Meteor replacement, I'm going to go with the Matrix. I think it's going to be a little more stable. I'm going to have to beat it in, but I think it's going to hopefully fit that slot of the Meteor, but we'll see. For the Truth and the MB3, I have a Pyro. It's going to be my beefier mid-range, and then on top of that, I have my Deflector, which is insanely beefy. So I think I got all the slots covered for the mid-ranges, and I think it's going to be fine, and I'm excited to throw my new gyro mid-ranges. Alright, so next up we have our fairway drivers. Already one of my favorite discs in my bag is the gyro disc. It's the Crave, 6.5 speed, do whatever you want. I actually have 3 Craves that I'm going to be bagging. I have this beat up one. I have a Team Figgins Crave in a more cheaper plastic, so it's going to be a lot straighter, more of a turnover. And then I have another one, yeah, Sarah Hokum Crave, and it'll be more beefy Crave that can really hammer. So there's my 3 6.5 speeds. And then try and fill the slot of my 2 Instincts. I have, which I don't really think is going to be very good. I can't really find a disc that I love to fill in the spots of my Instincts, but I'm going to try the Volts. I think they're going to have to get beat in. I mean, that's just the moral of the story. All my discs are beat in. These are all brand new. These are 8, 5, negative 5.5, negative 0.5, so probably going to be a little more beefy than the Instincts, but hey, we're going to try them out. The Volts. Next up, I have my Sting and my Jackalope, kind of my 2 roller discs. and my jackalope I can use as a really hazard flip disc to try to get some distance. So really my 2 discs I'm going to try and fill in the slots for these, not the same speeds but they're 9 speeds, is the Virus. It's a 9, 5, -3.5, so it's very flippy, and I think it's going to fill in the spot of my jackalope, hopefully for rollers, maybe big turnovers, stuff like that. And then for the Sting, I've thrown this inertia before, it was in the bag. It's a very flippy inertia, so I hope it's just going to be a roller disc, and that's the main goal of it. Next up are my beefy 9 speeds, trying to fill in these slots of my Alpha and my Captain Raptor and a regular Raptor, which I don't have in the bag right now. But for those, we'll be using a Tesla. This is 9, 5, -1, so it's going to be a little more flippy, more like the Alpha, more straighter, push straighter, and then really hook up at the end because it has that 2 finish. And then, so for the beefy boys, I have 2 fireballs, brand new fireball. I expect this one to be really beefy. 9, 3, 0, 3, and then this fireball I've had, I've thrown before. So I expect this to be nice, beefy. Next up are my distance drivers. So I have a trace in the bag. Next up, my fan favorites. My personal favorite disc right now is the Enigmas. So I have a flippy Enigma that I love to hazard flip, a more straighter Enigma that I don't have to so much hazard. What I'm going to try and play something, and I am super excited about, is the Octanes. So my Octanes, I have this Octane in the Fission plastic, which is basically their baseline plastic. I'm super excited. I hear it's a great disc. Really excited. I think it's going to replace the flippy Enigma very well. But we'll have to see. But I am excited for it. And then I have the other Octane, which is in the proton plastic. So it's going to be more Octanes for the Enigmas. I got relativities, 2 relativities. They might even possibly Enigmas, but if the Octanes end up stable, then these will be my single ones. If not, then I will have to find discs. But these are 14.5, 5, and then -3 turn. So they are supposed to be flippy, as long as I can get the arm speed because they are 14s. But hopefully these will be my hazard flip discs for distance. They'll be replacing, I guess, the Octanes will be replacing Forces and Enigmas, I guess. And then for my Rive, not much can replace the Rive. This disc was great. Just for funsies, because I needed something really overstable on a high speed, I have a Dimension, a 14.503, really beefy, something I can throw in an Anheuser and trust it. That concludes the bag. Of course, I'm gonna be using my cart, but gotta use the Axiom disc watermelon bag. Can't go all gyro and not use the watermelon bag. So excited to see. We're gonna do this for a month. Today is August 7th, so 1 month from now would be September 7th, and we're gonna see how this goes. We have a tournament, me and Dan have a doubles tournament for USGC qualifying, and we're gonna have to use this bag, and we're gonna see how it goes, but oh well, it's part of the plan, right? I'll try to record as much as I can. I don't think I'm gonna record a lot, but I'll record whatever I can, and then in a month I'll get back to you guys. I'll give an update on what's staying in the bag, what's coming out of the bag, and we'll show you and give you some reviews on the discs and see how everything is. Alright, see you guys in a month.
Rush. We got 2 different craves here. This is a Terra. Throw the Terra first. It's like a beefy 8-speed. Inertias, flippy inertia, and surprisingly stable inertia from the Gyro pack. That one's so beefy, and we'll have this one. Now watch, just watch. The difference in those 2 inertias is just crazy to me.
did not play as much as I wanted to over this month. I'm really busy for work, but I think I played enough to understand the discs. Definitely down the stretch the last week, 2 weeks, I've been feeling really good with the bag. Everything's starting to dial in. There's some discs that I like, some discs that I love, some discs that barely touched because I just didn't like the feel, couldn't get the flight down. Flight didn't fit a certain flight I was looking for. So we're gonna start off with the gyro stack first. We'll just go by speed kinda and disc similarity. This is dimension. That's the 14 speed. Don't need it. Didn't really use it a lot. Too beefy, too fast. Force is much better. Not in the bag. Royal Rive, can't replace it. Gotta go back in the bag. In the bag. Alright, so here I have my relativities. The 14 speed, -3 turn. Didn't love them too much. I felt like they were really kind of inconsistent with what they did. This one is newer, this one's older. Sometimes they flew very flippy, and sometimes they just were straight in. I couldn't figure out, they felt inconsistent to me, so I obviously think that the Enigmas are much better, and I think that they're not making the bag, and Enigmas are gonna make the bag. I'm only probably gonna put 2 in there, 1 or 2, because, only 1 or 2, because my new favorite disc is part of the gyro, and it's gonna be the Octane. This disc is incredible. I don't like it in the newer, like not the newer plastic, but the more premium plastic. Little inconsistent flight, but the basic baseline plastic, this disc absolutely bombs. Favorite disc. You can get it anytime you want because it's in a basic plastic. If you have not tried an Octane, I recommend you try one. It is my favorite disc. It's going in the bag. I absolutely crush it forehand, hyzer flip. I can throw a big turnover backhand and throw it over 400 feet, which is something that I cannot do. I don't throw far. So this disc feels really, really good. I'm gonna get more. For the more premium one, I think that I can do better with force, so I'm just gonna have to take this one out of the bag. But first gyro in the bag is the Octane, and it's in. Like I said, the 2 forces have to stay in the bag. I enjoy them too much. They're my favorite discs. They've been my favorite disc for a long time, so Octane can join them in the bag. On my Photon and my Trace, if I'm being honest with you, they're the same disc. I like the way that this Trace feels, more premium plastic, grippier, close grippier. So I'm just gonna put the Trace in the bag. Photon, great disc, love it. Try one out if you haven't. It's an 11 speed, -1 turn. So it flies straight, and if you have arm strength, it's a really good disc. I love it. Trace is the same exact disc, and I just like this plastic better. So that's what I'm just gonna say. Next up are my 9 speeds. I have my Alpha, and my Captain's Raptor, and my 2 Fireballs. The Captain's Raptor is 100% going back to bag. This disc is just irreplaceable. It's so consistent. So that one's in the bag. Now the Alpha and the Fireball are more similar. I can't decide. I like the way the Alpha feels a little better. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the Alpha. I don't love the Fireballs. I'd much rather have a Raptor. So I'm just gonna put the Alpha in the bag, take these 2 Fireballs out, and I'm gonna stick with the Alpha. I don't know, they're great discs. I love them. They were good for the month. Very stable, very reliable. They're a little sharp on the rim, and that's it. That's the only reason I'm not gonna put them in the bag. So other than that, good discs. Great discs. I recommend you try out Firewalk. They're actually very stable. So I'll put it. Next up, I have my Tesla. To be honest with you, didn't throw the Tesla much. I'm gonna put it in the middle right now. If I have room in the bag, I'll keep it in the bag. If not, I won't. Next up, I have my Virus. This disc is 100% going in the bag. Beautiful for turnovers. Just holds turnover, and if you throw it right, you can get it to come out a little bit at the end. Very understable, hyzer flip, and I don't know. If you haven't tried a Virus, you need to try one. It's actually one of my favorite discs from the Gyro selection, and it's going in the bag. Jackalope and Sting. I think the Jackalope has to go back in the bag. Didn't really find anything like it. Feels great. Plastic is obviously great. So the Jackalope has to go back in the bag. The Sting, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna put it in the middle if I have room. Next up is the Inertia. So this Inertia, I didn't love. It also felt very inconsistent. Sometimes it would turn, sometimes it wouldn't. And it wasn't flippy enough to be a roller disc. So it just doesn't have a use for me. It's just gonna have to not make the bag. Next up, I have my Volts, which were the goal to replace my Instincts. You know, they might fill a void in the bag because they're an 8-speed and they're beefy. It's kind of like a T-Bird that I don't have, T-Bird 3 that I don't have, because I'm not allowed to throw them. But the Instincts are a little slower and this is a little faster. So I think I'm gonna put the Instincts back in the bag, and I think I'm gonna keep one of these Volts in the bag. Next up, we have the Craves. Obviously, staying in the bag. So I started out, I only had one Crave in the bag. At the beginning of the month, I added 2 Craves. This is our Team Figgins Crave. If you don't have one, get one on the shop, teamfiggins.com. I love it. It's straight and it goes forever. I don't know what plastic it is, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And I think I'm gonna take the oldest Crave in my bag out and rotate in the newer one, try and beat this one up a little bit because this one kind of is the same flight as my old Crave. That's what's happening. This one's out, these 2 are in. All right, we're into mid-ranges. I have Pyro, which I actually really like. It's got like a little bead right here. It's a big bead actually, not little. But it's very overstable, very reliable. I can turn it over and it'll fight out of it. Then I have my Uplink, which is definitely gonna replace the Soul because I just don't like the way that the Soul feels. And I like that the way the Uplink feels in my hand. It's very great, awesome disc returner, was very understable. So the Uplink is staying in the bag. Soul out. Matrix, which was supposed to replace the Meteor, not even close. The Matrix is much more stable than the Meteor. So the Meteor is going to be in the bag. This is like my favorite Meteor. It doesn't feel like a normal Meteor. It's flat and it's very straight. So I was looking for a straight disc in the Matrix and I didn't get it. So that's the only reason it's out of the bag. It's a good disc. It feels really good in the hand. It's not as straight as I want it to be. So that's the only reason it's out. And the Meteor isn't. Obviously the Hex. I love the Hex. It's gonna stay very straight with a little bit of finish. So it's a disc that is staying in the bag. I love it. If you don't have Hex, try a Hex. Get a Hex. You need one. They feel great in hand as well. To decide whether I want to keep the Truth and the MD3 in the bag, the Iron Samurai MD3. If I had to choose one, I'm gonna choose the MD3. I just feel like the Truth, I don't need it right now. So at the moment I'm just gonna knock the Truth out of the bag, put the MD3 in the bag. So next up, my Deflector and my A3s. I absolutely love the Deflector. Probably the favorite disc that I had to throw during this gyro challenge. It filled the slot of the A3 100% and better. I'm not taking the A3 out of the bag because, once again, A3 is one of my favorite approach discs. So the deflector and the A3 are going to be in the bag. The deflector is a little more stable. I know it's hard to imagine. It's a little bigger as well because it's a 5C mid-range. So it's bigger in the hand, just ever so slightly, and it always fights out. It's so reliable. I would definitely try a deflector if you need a super overstable approach disc and something that's going to fight out of the anhydrous for you. 100% great disc, recommend. Staying in the bag. A3 staying in the bag. I'm probably only going to keep one in the bag and then use the other one as a backup. So one A3 in the bag, one deflector in the bag. And there we go. Next up, my Fierce and my Proxy. I'm not sure I like the Fierce right now. I loved the Fierce before I started this challenge, and the Proxy is just not beat up enough to be that turnover disc for me yet. So I like the way it feels in the hand, honestly, better than Fierce. So I might keep it in the bag, or I might keep both of them in the bag to try and beat in the Proxy to where the Fierce is at. And until the Proxy gets there, the Fierce will stay in the bag, and then once the Proxy is at the same stability that my Fierce is currently at, I might take the Fierce out of the bag. Because once again, Proxy is in a baseline plastic, and I can get it anytime, and I can make it and beat it in anytime I want to be that turnover putter shot that I need. So I honestly think both of them are going to stay in the bag. Next up, my last two discs before my putters. The Envy, 100% the best throwing putter on the planet right now. MVP did it really good with this Envy. If you don't have an Envy, you need to get one. Great throwing putter. Multiple different plastics you can get. This one I have is overstable, so it's straight to overstable. And I just love it. It's a great throwing putter. And if you don't have an Envy, you need to get one. And they have multiple plastics, like I said. So you get them in different plastics to do different things and still have the same mold. And that's the exciting thing about these. So the Envy is 100% staying in the bag. Adding the Berg back into the bag because it's an irreplaceable disc and I need to have it in the bag. I can do anything I want with it. So Berg's back in the bag. And last but not least, I have my Atom and my Logics. So the Atoms I figured out as throughout the month. I learned how to putt with them, but I putt with overstable putters usually, and the Atom is a little straighter than I would like, and so in that regard, I'm gonna have to go with the Logic for my putting putters again. That is gonna conclude the in the bag. I guess it's my in the bag for the rest of the year. Yeah, so that was a fun month. Learning, experimenting with new discs I've never thrown. I would recommend trying that out. Doesn't have to be with MVP, but I would recommend trying out. Just go to a different brand, throw discs you've never thrown, try them out. You never know what you're gonna find. You find some gems in there, like the Octane. That is an amazing disc, like I said. You have to get one. My favorite disc in the bag right now. And other than that, yeah, I would just try out a challenge like this. It helps you get better. It makes you focus on getting better. So that's gonna be it for the video, and I'll see you guys in our next video. Peace out.